Hi, my name's Tate Lindstrom. When I was born, I was missing a left hand. And this is my story of how I overcome that to chase after my motorsport dreams.
When Tate was born with only one hand, it was quite a surprise.
The little things that go through your head is we thought, how is he ever going to ride a push bike with only having one hand? And then he ended up racing motocross.
When I was a kid, I pretty much had a crack at everything. So I did Auskick, I did cricket, baseball, horse riding, snow skiing, water skiing. Pretty much everything that you can think of, I gave it a crack. Pretty much always came back to motorsports though. When I was in year 8, we moved from Victoria to South Australia and we started racing motocross. Sort of started out with a very simple setup. I actually had my first setup for the motocross handlebars that actually suited my situation. The problem I had before was one hand was obviously longer than the other, so I ended up riding a bike like that. So Dad created a handlebar setup that worked a lot better for me. I had a lot more control. I really enjoyed it, so I ended up racing. I loved that it was a single person sport. I didn't have anyone to blame but myself if I wasn't doing any good. Nobody cared when I was out on track that I had one hand. They didn't hold any bars because of it. A lot of them didn't even know. And yeah, I just enjoyed being out there, testing myself. There's a lot of commitment required to motocross because you got to push yourself to do some stuff that you're going to be pretty scared of or might hurt yourself doing. And I kind of enjoyed that because it really makes you push yourself. There's no sort of giving itself a quarter. You got to go all the way if you want to clear some of those jumps and not crash.
First place, second place, 7:31, Tate Lindstrom.
After many years of racing motocross, I started to probably go down a bit of a different path. My body was pretty broken. I had a dislocated shoulder that kept dislocating regardless of the surgery that I got. So I wanted to go and do something else in motorsport. Some of my friends were into drifting at the time, so I thought, oh, go buy a car, give that a go, and started my drift career. Coming from motocross, it was pretty evident how important it was to make sure I got the car set up for my situation. So what we did was Dad designed a handbrake that was a different style. It's a vertical push. We've also got a gear shifter, which I've nicknamed the cup holder, and basically it's a cup that sits on the end of a modified shifter that's a bit closer to me, and I can slip my hand in it and then I can change gears. Originally I didn't actually plan on taking drifting too seriously, but it didn't take long and the competitive side of me came out, and before I knew it I'd entered in my first competition. I ended up winning that competition in one of the lower ranks and the bug bit me pretty hard. Following my first win I started to take drift a fair bit more seriously. I committed myself to doing L1 competition rather than L2 and driving against the best drivers in the state. Those guys are really quite comfortable getting close to each other, and it takes quite a lot of time, effort and skill.
Look at this, Tate Lindstrom, sticking up on him, he's on his floor, Tate Lindstrom, CA186, all over the big average, they're sticking in the for the exit, he last corner, well done, what a
2019 was a bit of a breakout year for me. I went from being a top 16 competitor to a regular top 8 and sometimes even top 4 competitor. Round 4 of the state series I was in the top 4 with Jake Jones, who's driven internationally at China and New Zealand before. And I also did a national event at the Bend Motorsport Park in the Pro-Am category and got 4th overall. So yeah, things have really been going well. I'd like to do a lot more of the national events and maybe even get an invite to do the International World Time Attack event at Sydney Motorsport Park. For me, I don't see myself as any different to anyone else that lines up on the start line with me. Everyone's got things they need to battle against and things to overcome. Mine's a bit more visual and a bit easier to see, but there's plenty of people out there with 2 hands that have as big or bigger issues to overcome than me. I guess the message I'd really like to get out there is it doesn't matter what your challenge is, whether it's missing an arm, a leg, or something completely different. That challenge isn't what defines you. It's the way that you go about solving it that does. And I think if people keep that in mind, regardless of their challenge, they'll come out the other side all the better for it.